Welcome back, my friends and neighbors. Today, I want to talk about the 3 biggest challenges that people can face while earning their private pilot license. And if you want to see what it's like to become a private pilot, check out my first video in my How to Become a Pilot series. I'll link to it at the end of this video. The first big challenge that everybody's going to be faced with is money. How much is this thing going to cost? Now, I can't put a price tag on it. Some people say $14,000 to $16,000. It's really hard to put a price tag on it. Depends on where you go to school. Some schools are more expensive than others. But if you're just taking your private pilot course and you go to a Part 61 school, which is your regular old mom and pop shop, then you don't pay all up at once. You pay usually one lesson at a time is how I do it. Now at my school, our aircraft, which is a Cessna 172, charges $155 per hour for the aircraft, and then $65 an hour for an instructor. Even though it's hard to put a total amount on your flight training, roughly you can count on at least an average of 30 hours of dual instruction and then 20 hours of solo time. That's a good average right there, leaving you around 50 hours, sometimes 60 hours. So for a 50-hour pilot, that's the number right there. And it seems like kind of a lot, and because it is. And it may end up being more, it may end up being a little less for you. I got bogged down, and something my wife said to me, she sat down and said, take it one lesson at a time. Do you know how much one lesson about is gonna cost? Yeah. Well, can you afford that? One lesson? Can you afford one lesson right now? Yes, I can afford one lesson right now. Okay, then go take one lesson. But if I had lost myself with the big oh my goodness, I can't afford this, I wouldn't be 60 plus hours into it. The second biggest challenge that people are going to have is going to be time. In today's day and age, everybody's so busy, there's so much packed into our schedules, it can be really hard to find the time. I'm married, my wife and I have 3 kids, and so in the beginning I knew I was going to have to find time to juggle between work, family, and now flying. So something we did was sit down in the very beginning and hammer out 1 or 2 days a week that I could fly. Most of the time, I do my flying on Tuesdays. That's a big day for me to do my lessons on. Now that I'm a post-solo student, building solo time, now I'll kick in some Fridays here and there where I do solo time. But for the most part, my fly day is on Tuesday. Challenge number 3 is your ability. Now this can take on a few different shapes. This can consist of your skills, your knowledge, or your confidence level. Your skills, everybody has to work on. Everybody needs to figure out or learn how to, hopefully learn how to, fly an airplane from a competent instructor. When it comes to skill learning, you need to find an instructor that you jive with, one that you trust, one that you can sit down and have a good flight with without being, too nervous or without their personality clashing with yours. Find somebody you enjoy being around for that hour and a half of flight time. Remember, at the end of the day, you're paying them, not the other way around. Some people struggle with the learning portion. There's a big book that you've got to learn, and there's regulations that you need to learn and processes. All that kind of stuff will be covered in a good ground school course. However, some people have a hard time putting that knowledge to use, actually applying it. That can be a real challenge for some people. And again, finding an instructor that's really good with the knowledge portion and that can mentor you along the way is essential. The third component, I think, to the ability challenge is going to be your confidence level, usually when it comes to flying by yourself. You can have all the confidence in the world when an instructor is sitting right next to you. And then when they leave and it's time for you to solo, that confidence can go out the window. And that is something that I have struggled with a fair amount. I know I've talked about it in the past, and I'm going to talk about it in the future, and that's okay. Now, understanding that by the time you solo, you have the training to handle an engine failure in flight. When you get up to altitude and you start flying out and about on your own, look down. Do you have 1,000-foot strip of grass somewhere? If you have to, you can put down in it, and you will have the skill to put down in it and live. As promised, here is the link to my How to Become a Pilot Part 1. Answers a lot of the questions from your discovery flight all the way to your solo flight. If you want to see some of my in-flight video, check out this video down here. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed creating it. If so, give me a thumbs up, that would be really great. Leave me a comment, let's discuss some of your fears and some of your challenges or questions that you have. Send me an email, send me a Facebook message. I'd love to reply as soon as I can. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.